Like I said, if you can't try and zone out the strategists, if you don't have enough of actual ban slots left to try and ban out a Vanguard, or to at least try and gain some Vanguard control, you pick one person and you say, this is a threat, let's do what we can with what we have. It's just managing resources. Yes, it's unfortunate that they didn't get those that bad. These are all heroes. They're like Jerky on Psylocke. An insane matchup earlier, and we do see the Frenzied Arrival trying to punish this high ground positioning. Lovely lockdown onto Saint Komodo, who does get that symbolic resilience off and is able to retreat back to their team, but with Star-Lord continuously applying the pressure.
Yeah, Saint-Tomoto trying to copy a little bit of what Nevix was able to do before with the dive, but when you're up against the Loki, having a Loki and the Lunar Snow available for all business seems to be like, how long has it been since we've seen that? And then also the Magneto and the Emma Frost, like these are just comps that you don't get to see anymore, so it's a bit of a breath of fresh air. We do see the copy, the God of Mischief getting that Fate of Both Worlds, and it's rolling back the months again to the Invitational Tetcher, with both these teams sustaining themselves out and going for this fight.
Good on their favourite character here, according to their own notes, as in comes the Kraken Impact, also something familiar to the previous Invitationals and MRCs. There's Loki clones, here comes Winter Soldier.
On the Hela, the Goddess of Death is good to go, but it's trying to find a good position, and the Silent Seduction actually coming in from low 9 might be the main thing to come through. Meteor M available for 2-2. Not able to get an elimination, but it's keeping low 9 away from this point as it ticks up in favor of All Business.
All Business taking control. You mentioned it and you were correct. Low9 did win that first matchup versus All Business. All Business have yet to score a map in any series they have lost, whereas Low9 have yet to lose a series or even win a series without at least dropping and taking one map. They are such a consistent team, always taking everyone to the limit. But right now, this is a rough position to be in, but they're making the most of it. Pushing it on in, trying to chase them back, keep that Venom topped up, trying to focus onto the Magneto. Thin Clone pushing on in, looking for that Fate of Both Worlds is in from the top rope. Silent Seduction is taken down by Jerky.
It's taken everything. The kitchen sink, 4 ultimates thrown in for low 9, and they still haven't quite got the point. Now they've managed.
All Business. Low 9 have claimed the point, but like you mentioned, they burned through so many resources to do it as Crisis gets sniped by the man cannon into the main and auto attacks from Doom, who is popping off on this Magneto. It's so rare we get to see it, and they are making the most of it. Here comes the Kraken Impact from Slowpoke to try and take out these high grounds, takes out Gonski onto the Strange that was swapped in for a little bit of reinforcement, but they are being burst down. Wolver falls. Jerky was able to sneak away, trying to get the duel without getting picked off and sent into that final hit mode from that Kraken Impact to give a reset, and will be able to draw this out, but does eventually get taken down by Tuzi.
Low 9 not looking to be able to contest at all Business. It felt like they just did enough. It was crazy to say. People are going to be catching the ball and be like, wait, no, this can't be right. Like, we're seeing the Lunar Snow and the Loki both available. Basically, the main characters that are far away, at least over halfway for both of these strategists' ultimates to keep people up. But Znost going down first, actually, is a great shot from Crisis. Might turn things in favor from low 9.
Crisis is an incredible hit scan player, has been doing so much work on the Punisher recently, now finally being forced onto this Hela. Wolver taking a lot of damage as Fate of Both Worlds is going to be dropped by Gonski with that God of Mischief, immediately backed by Closar as they're attempting to push on back low. 9 are the ones playing aggressively, but that's going to allow the Meteor M to take out Crisis. Sainamono though gets closer on the backline, forcing Znost to also drop the God of Mischief.
And the fight held on so far. Aggression at a neutral stage. Somebody needs to cap the point first, but it's looking like All Business is hard, but he has to be the initiator here.
It's such a rough situation to be in because, as you mentioned earlier, that Loki being in play is so good against backline dive. Crisis gets sniped by Tuntutun as they are trying to get onto these backlines. Loki regeneration domain can shut it down. Jerky and Saint-Tomoto though.
They're so good at playing at like that effective range where that splash damage can just be annoying. Silent Seduction trying to punish just how far these players from All Business are pushed up, but it's going to be used on the other side. Fate Both Worlds just coming out beforehand. You can see that there's a couple of players that have been pulled in with the commands of the Emma Frost. The Garmin Crush Not going to be catching anybody. Just a bit of CC. There's way too much healing on the board so far, up until all business. And yet again, it's that Vanguard lineup that finds the burst damage, finds the pick. That duo is deadly. It's irritating. It's annoying. You even have the team up that's going to come in to just add these extra clones to make things incredibly frustrating for all business. But it's the same as the last point, Texture. Low9 looking to pick up things now, but there's so much progression on the side of all
the
business.
Loki looking for anyone out of position. They could try and go for a Soul Siphon to lock someone down here and get a pickup. Low9, they have to defend further forward here because they can't afford to give up the distance. Regeneration Domain coming in a little early here as all business are pushing up, making the most of that early defensive ability being burned.
Oh, Saint wanted to just dive on in. The Fate of both worlds forced out early, but I guess it means that if you can sustain this fight, you can catch them afterwards. The God of Mischief's out, so there's plenty more dancing to be done. Bit of a celebration, and the Dance of the Butterflies is going to be the nightcap to put this one to bed. Maybe the encore song for all business as they're looking to pull things back into their favor. The Sound of Seduction for the contest. Wolver swapping over to the Doctor Strange, so the portal play is going to be the action here. Knockbacks are going to make it a bit more precarious to jump in onto the point, but they activate overtime.
We're playing very slow there to make sure that Saint Simona can return as they swap over to the Ember Frost, Goddess of Death from both sides, but the Strange is in position. Wolver giving everything they can to try and buy some time for their team, and currently, Low9 Crisis finding at least a couple early pickups, tries to go for the duel onto Tuzi, but they are having an extreme...
Yeah, but Slowpo is the one that finds that first pick in this fight.
Here comes Turkey into the backline. They can take out Loki early, forces the regeneration domain. That removes a lot of sustain. Kraken Impact was burned, found no reset. Crisis, the first to go down, quickly swaps to the Star-Lord for the quick re-engage. But Jerky sniped by the Media M. Ayamoto! But that extra Fate of both worlds trying to keep them up. Slow-mo will fall here. They're capitalizing. Welsh Mania pushing on in at Low9. That overtime is ticking down while they have control. But all business is going to try and reinforce. Crisis gets to the tune after the fast roll out with that Star-Lord, and this is Low9 starting to recover. Fate of both worlds though from closer is going to delay this. There are no main strategist ultimates left available. Pink Clone is the closest on 89, 91. The Galactic Legend is already charged.
Well, Crisis frozen for a second, but Jarecki now, this is where they start to come alive, and it might be enough to get Low9 over the point. The objective is in their favor, but overtime is being held down by all business that are doing their best to just keep going, to just keep bodies on the line. There's 2 left now, and they're being very irritating and annoying, and it might be enough for Crisis to find the clearance, and he does. Really, we're seeing the domination game score.
Crisis, the swap onto Star-Lord to reinforce quickly. Wolver with the slow jump on. It's if you touch the point within a couple seconds of the timer ending is how
taken out. Can he still find the same success here when he doesn't have the Psylocke, when he doesn't have the torch? The Mischief is going to be used, but the ultimate not necessarily dedicated or just yet. Jarecki, though, with that little bit of resource added on top of him, it means that this fight is going to lean in that direction. The Eye of Agamotto catching up to 2, but the Maelstrom catching up the breakpoint, making sure that the support ultimate, the Fate of both worlds, isn't able to keep people alive. Wolver's done terrific work there. And Low9, Popo has the Kraken's impact in hand, and this is a good amount of damage. Really forcing out that regeneration domain early, and up on the stairs, everybody's been pulled in. The Psionic Seduction doing the Lord's work as the Meteor M finding nothing this time, however, for 2-2. Psionic Seduction going to be used on the other side, but Tuzi being able to get into that Goddess of Death just beforehand. More pot shots than anything, forcing everybody into this backline, and you just saw Welsh Mania dive in from distance, clearing people out, and a lot of pressure and point has been put in onto Jarecki. The dance of the ball.
Or the Fate of both worlds. Very quick rollout again from Low9 using the portal early here, as we already have Eye of Agamotto charged up. They do not want to give all business a second to recover. Kraken Impact coming in, does not find the first reset as they try to look for anyone, but they're getting zoned out quickly into the Goddess of Death to try and burn through, but they are picked off. Beautiful focus. Eye of Agamotto, and again Wolver finds the pickup on onto Tuzi as they push on in with the extra healing, but with their ultimate expiring, Crisis going down. Low9 are starting to run out of sustain. They're forced to back up a little as Snos is turning this round. Toot is dropped low, and that Psionic Seduction is zoning Low9.
Wolver has been finding all of the connections, maybe not all of the players been stunned up by Eye of Agamotto, but it's the Maelstroms, it's this burst damage that's coming through from Low9 to just really get by two of the strongest strategist ultimates to keep people going. All Business just can't seem to really...
Also try and keep some pressure onto the backside. There's no Winter Soldier from Low9 to really try and lock down this Captain America with Bionic Hook or a Soldier's Fist, meaning that those backliners, that Luna, a little bit vulnerable. Fate of both worlds going to be forced down as Jerky was taken out immediately. Welsh Mania dropped low, but the siege of the Loki healing is keeping them topped up as they are taking a huge advantage here. Pink Logo, Godsky will Fate of both worlds, even though they're down 2 members, to try and delay this, to try and get some extra time, but they are taken out.
Ultimate good to go. It feels like it's a game of chicken, Tetra. Who's going to use it first?
Look out for that Eye of Agamotto. This is how we've been seeing. What a wraparound from Tuzi. That might have just completely changed this game on 98% versus 91. All Business in control. Fate of both worlds going to be dropped. Kraken Impact will not find the reset. Jerky looking for the turnaround, for the save with this dance of the butterfly, but it's being sustained. And they interrupted the Eye of Agamotto with the crystal, with the carbon crush. And this is exactly what All Business needed as overtime is ticking down. Wolver is the one on the point. They can't portal because they're here. And they're getting zoned out, picked up, and it's Quick running in. Reinforcements to try and buy every second, but All Business have control, and they will take game number 1.
Getting revenge onto L9 really highlight how good of a player this guy is. Below 9, you have to bounce back a little bit, knowing how strong All Business are at the Convergence and Convoy game modes. It's been... Hulk has been hovered over for Saint Amoto. Wolver was on the group beforehand. All Business have Wolverine available at least. But awkward. Tuzi especially thinking, why always me?
Tuzi though, here is a risk that Low9 have taken. They have left open the Lunar Snow, which opens up the possibility. We've been seeing it a little bit in the Americas.
Now All Business have to really start engaging this. These group walls are going to put this Emma Frost in a bit of an awkward pickle. Welsh Mania able to escape for the time being, and even actually gets the
Blessing. It is very strong, but they're very single target blow-ups with at least their main attack output compared to Low9, who can drop some massive AoE.
I guess one of the things as well of like Low9 not finding out Luna on the other side is that it makes it very easy for a Loki to copy it. You almost want closer to be on that character even be necessary this time around, as you got Tutors just leaping in as this Hulk, forcing back Slowpoke, forcing out some of these bigger cooldowns to just keep that mitigation up and alive. Sintamoto finds a pick. We do see the Supernova also used from Jareki. It's just trying to funnel out a little bit more. Strangled Prison not connecting onto all that much other than Closer, which again used to Fate of both worlds just at the end of it taken out. And now that Goddess of Death just taking these shots in, allowing Toot to just pummel down people. And whilst he goes down to Bruce Banner, the damage might be good enough to keep these resets going, as Wolfer is now on the other side finding these pigs. Tetcher, it's come and go for both these squads.
It's back and forth, come and go. In comes the Venom once again. Saint Amoto going aggressive onto these backlines. There's only a few meters left to go. Wolverine and the Human Torch and the Punisher to just overwhelming damage break it with this Firestorm.
Final judgment going to be used from Crisis. He has been so good at cleaning up the shop, but he hasn't really had to run into too many Lunar Ultimates on the other side, so it's a little bit of a damage boost, really. Now you've got the copy going into the Zenost as well. It just means that this fight ends up slogging on just a little bit more. Tuzi through all of the stuff, the hubbub on the point, finds the pick over on that Hela. Now Jareki, Supernova from behind the ambulance van. Is it going to be an ambulance for them, or at least not for me? Low9 fighting on the Omega Hurricane with that combination that we saw last time as well. The team up with the Human Torch, making this way too much damage for All Business to keep on top of. But they're dealing with the heat. They're staying inside the kitchen. and they're still holding on as overtime looms.
Saitomoto swaps to the strain for the reinforced portal. Jerky on the Wolverine of their own to try and clean up Tuzi. Was taken down. Wolver gets Slowpo. And in overtime, where Low 9 seem to like to live, they're pushing on through. Piece by piece. Trying to get onto that backline. Taking out Tuntutun. And they're running out of members. Here comes Tuzi, though, with a fast rollout on the Star-Lord. It's been a saving grace for so many teams that they get forced physics. They've taken out with the Windblade.
Wolver's run back as the Storm, so it is just Saitomoto solo Vanguard at the moment. He's got stunned and he's very close to an Eye of Agamotto. It's just whether he can survive this onslaught from Slowpo. Jarecki gets the response back. And the point still hasn't quite got to the end, although it's looking pretty much a pixel away. That might be the difference from separating these two teams in this game. We got the portal now that was used and sat on the whole time. It's Tuzi that's on it. He's been taken out on so many characters. He's decided to switch to a different role, but it's not enough. Low 9 Crisis. He's able to get the combo in, clean up house, and finally, Tetcher, they hit the checkpoint. Deary me.
The portal last.
Yeah, it's odd because you don't have that team up as well. Either with Hulgus, just Tuzi's just ran in on it. Maybe the sort of burst of the ultimate is going to be enough to clean up house, and with so many bodies stuck together, just a right click might be enough here. Wolver has been making the Storm work, to be fair. He finds another pick onto Welshmania, and triple ultimates now thrown in from the attacker side to just get past his main choke. You do have the silent seduction from Tututu, but it didn't stop all that much. It's mostly that God of Mischief from Zenos that's keeping things going and actually allowing All Business to get control of the payload once again. Be a little bit more creative, and All Business want to be a little bit more coordinated. Price is now over on the Hela himself, trying to just perk trip up on the high ground. Not going to be seeing Goddess of Death all too soon, but that Fate of Both Worlds, I don't know what pushed it out in the first place. You got the Iron Man pulse come through, not connecting onto much, as both these Lokis copying up onto the Luna ultimate. The Eye of Agamotto only catching onto one, but the follow-up is still there again from Saitomoto. Low 9 put on the back foot, now starting the counter-attack. Overtime, it doesn't seem to be a concept.
Low 9 are so fast at recovering. They're going to portal block the doorway to try and give themselves a reinforcement. All Business, they did not have a strange. They are just going to have to walk all the way around the outside. But every second matters. Here comes Welshmania to try and buy the extra time. Wolverine going to be diving off to the point to try and focus down onto that Groot that has been brought in from Wolver. Struggling Prison. Fate of Both Worlds to try and buy time, but it's not enough. And they're still going. Low 9 refuse to go quietly as well. And Welshmania, you already mentioned, on the Groot of their own, building up to that straggling prison, setting up some very nice walls to put the pressure onto Wolver and Saitomoto to zone them away from their strategist. Jerky drops low. Wolver able to find Tuntutun, dance with the butterfly into the backline to try and take them out. Gets the double. The strategists are down. That's all the sustainable business, and that card is going to keep moving. Low
going, because if any cracks start to form, Jarecki's going to turn it into a gaping chasm. It might tear All Business a new one if they're not careful now. They have all of the ultimates to sit on one. They need one clean fight as we go into overtime yet again. And there's the Strangling Prison Crack and Impact combination. It's a lot more clean. It's a lot more swift. Just clearing out Wolver's going to be it. And finally, it's looking like All Business have put a stop to this one. Gonski stalling for a little bit more. And All Business, sigh of relief, but must be thinking that could have ended a lot sooner. Yeah, look at the top left. It's not even like the stats I want to see. It's just as a reminder, sorry, top right of what the bans have come in over onto Tuzi.
Just kind of vibing on the point. We're seeing Tuntutun pushing in the cart with this Emma Frost bionic hook. It does land, but behind the separate barrier, Wolver is able to pull back.
Wolver's HP is going up and down, and it's not taking Slowpo to make the most of it. He was the one that put a pin in their defensive side with a nice clean engagement. And these resets connect him, but Saitomoto connects just a little bit harder, straight in the face, and it opens the door a little bit for Crisis. Wolver does eventually go down in this state, but Crisis now, he's able to at least play the Punisher. He's got a lot of, at least, support now. Pink Clone being able to just put some...
They get back onto the car, and they're going to take it slow, at least for now, until those triggers are pulled. Like stack corrected, as not, going to be already dropping that God of Mischief.
Strangling Prison for Welshmania. It's whether you can actually get Low 9 to sit and play together, because Jerky just in the backline is going to just keep things put onto close sides, whether it forces out the fate of both worlds and forces these two strategist ultimates to be hit together, because we already have the Loki using the God of Mischief. Goddess of Death is going to match on top as we see a little bit of that Asgard Wrath come through, and the fate of both worlds nicely matching in as one song ends, the other is mixed in perfectly on the side of all business to keep things going. Not stalled out on the same point that they had a problem stopping on this defense. 4 minutes on the clock to go on for point B.
Fast reactions from Zdos there, as a lot of that Low 9 forced to back up to the defense position, and All Business have taken a very good spot at the top of the stairs. They're trying to focus their damage onto Wolver and will take them down. All Business, the momentum is heavily in their favor.
Yeah, Wolver's going to have a fair few bruises on him because All Business have been punching the ever-living daylights out of him. And now with EMEA sort of mirroring on the group, he's not too far away from having a strangling prison yet again, and it's really enabled clean fights for them and really stopped things for Low 9 slowing down. There's still so much time on the board for All Business, more so than Low 9 had when we saw them switch sides, that there's got to be a little bit of panic coming in from the defenders. The final judgment is going to try and push things back, and the point is just on the cusp of going through. There's not going to be a contest, Tetcher. They get things going, and we're on to point 3 already.
Tuzi has woken up. They have suddenly decided that Heller is...
Now, just with the environment changing around, it's whether he can spot a gap. He's looking specifically for Pinclone or Gonski. Force out these strategist ultimates a little bit earlier on. Tuzi trying to go for the fight, maybe pull back Jerky to try to peel, and it's looking like Jerky's going to be able to win the fight in that engagement. Both going to pull out for the time being. The Psionic Seduction going to be the go button, and 4 people stunned out from All Business from Saint Tomoto's Eye of Agamotto. That was perfect.
The Doctor Strange players, both of them, on Low 9 for 3 whole minutes.
Now it's building up. The pressure, the ultimates, the moments now, as we do see the copy, that first initial one used to bring us the first of many lunar ultimates that we'll see. Fate of multiple worlds coming through, and Jerky biding the time, waiting for the dance of the butterfly, seeing if he can catch a little bit of a window, especially with that strangling prison. That combination saved things for All Business right at the end. It's found an opening, but it's not found a clear-cut fight. But things are still progressing, actually. Just under 2.5 minutes on the clock, and just under 13 meters for All Business to go.
Goddess of Death into the air to try and zone him away. Gets absolutely wiped out of that so quickly. Forced to back up as Jerky takes out Welsh Mania. They're holding right at the finish line. It's so to pick up using that final judgment onto Slowpo, preventing them from getting another reset with that Kraken impact.
There's the copy that comes in from Zenost. Ultimate going to come out shortly afterwards. There's the fate of both worlds, and actually just catch Jerky as he's trying to get through. Stabbed in the back by Tuzi, that wants to really start to shine in this one. Had his moment, Silent Seduction. It's going to push people back. It's going to keep things churning forward for All Business. They still have 90 seconds on the clock. There's still at least a couple of fights that they can go for. We do see the Strangled Prison used from Wolf, but it's not really mattered too much other than Toot to Toot's wrath. Crisis even comes through with a final judgment, but he's taken out almost instantly. Low 9 can't hold on for much longer. All Business make this a 2-0 progress.
We saw it, the Loki, the reason it's banned out, regeneration domain, and suddenly all of that effort was put to nothing. Wolver was focused down, and All Business were able to lock in, get that card to Avengers Tower, and Herbie will have allowed them to move on and get that higher seed when we head into